government and their government. Next, we have the legislative leader. Okay. Congress, they have to make all the laws. We talked about that before. We talked about that a couple minutes ago. Congress, they're in charge of making all the laws. The president does have the right to introduce bills. So the big Obamacare health care. Okay. Obama wrote the bill and took it to the legislatures and said, this is a bill that I want to introduce. We've talked just last unit about the president can approve or sign the bills, or he can veto it. And so that's how he gets to get his hands in the legislative branch also. We have just talked about Obama's been taking congressmen to dinner to sit down with them and talk. He's taken a lot of heat over his first 4 years about how he doesn't really do that very often. And so here's a chance, takes them out to dinner, sits down in small groups and discuss, what's going on, and here's what I'm trying to do. Can you help me out? What can I do to help you? Every year he has a State of the Union address that we talked about happened in February, but he sits down and lays out, this is how I feel about foreign policy, this is how I feel about domestic policy, this is where our country's at now, this is where I'm going to take our country to, and ideas that I have. Okay, domestic policy, again, one of your vocab words. Plans on how you're going to deal with different problems. President prepares the budget. Okay? The House of Representatives gets the budget and goes through it and stuff, but the president actually has to put together the budget on how much we're going to spend, what we're going to spend it on, how we're going to pay for it, all of that. He's in charge of making sure that every bill, every penny that gets brought in is getting spent someplace, or every policy idea, every branch of anything is getting paid for. He also can call Congress into a special session. Now, we don't have to do that much anymore. Constitution says the president can do that. Anymore, Congress just never, it takes the summers off. They're just always in session. Where, in Minnesota, their legislative session lasts for like 4 months. And so sometimes they get called back to a special session, where the federal government, they're always in session, so we never really have to worry about that. Here's a picture of President Reagan at his State of the Union address. All right, next we have judicial powers. We have a big giant turkey there with Mr. Bush. Well, one of the main thing that he does with his judicial powers is he appoints all federal judges, not just the 9 Supreme Court justices, but all of the judges at the Court of Appeals, all the judges at the district courts. He, appoints all of them. He also can reduce the punishment of anybody who's been convicted of a crime, and that's called pardons. He can grant pardons, which was another one of the vocab words, so you should have that down. The story with the little turkey there. Every year they have like a ceremonial pardoning of a turkey right before Thanksgiving. And so they have the turkey, they bring him to the Rose Garden at the White House, and they have a little ceremony where the president pardons that turkey, so that turkey's not going to be eaten at Thanksgiving dinner. And if you're going to Washington, D.C. with us in June, when you're at Mount Vernon, that's where those turkeys get to go to spend the rest of their lives. Is they get to go chill at Mount Vernon with all the people running around, but they don't get eaten, so they got the good life. Next, we have the chief of the party. Okay, their main job here is helping the Democrats or helping the Republicans, making sure that their party members get elected to office. It's not going to do them any good if you're Obama and the House and the Senate are all Republicans. It's not going to do you any. You're not going to have much passed. it's going to be hard to get things done. But if you're a Republican governor or Republican president, and the House and the Senate are both Republican, you can pretty much lock down that anything you want talked about is going to get talked about. Anything you want passed is going to get passed. Makes your life a whole lot easier. You can just buzz right through things. So you want to make sure that people in your party get elected. You go around and they'll campaign. They go all over the country making campaign stops for people. I was working at the Radisson before, and I think I may have told some classes, but George Bush came and did a fundraiser for Norm Coleman when Norm Coleman was running for Senate. And we had a big dinner party there. And President came in, George Bush comes in. He spoke for about 35 minutes and left. He didn't even stay for dinner. He showed up, spoke for 35, 45 minutes, and left. And Norm Coleman made over $700,000 that night because it was so expensive with these people donating money that, he made $700,000 for the president just to show up. So he's making those fundraisers, and he's also going to appoint party people into government jobs. So if he has somebody in the, if you're a Democrat, you want Democrats around you. And if you're a big party person, maybe you get a better job that they'll slide you into. Not that you're not qualified to do it, but, they're going to make sure that the people in their party are the ones that are getting helped out, because they're going to be there to help them out. Lastly, Chief of State. Okay, the Chief of State and their job here is they basically go around and represent the United States at stuff. Okay, it's kind of like a king or a queen. They go to special occasions and ceremonies, giving out medals. You'll see on news they'll have like soldiers at the White House getting, the Medal of Honor pinned on them or stuff like that. They bring in, when they win the Super Bowl, or, in 3 weeks when the college basketball season's done. All those teams will go to the White House and get their pictures taken, and they'll take their trophy with them and meet with the president. That's one of the things that would fall underneath the president's role of Chief of State. Another one, the special occasions, ceremonies. Yesterday, Tuesday, the new Pope was sworn in, and so the president would be invited to that, and he would, he's not going to go, to head that way, but he sends people. So, like, just, on Tuesday, the vice president got sent over to Rome to go to the ordination or whatever of the Pope. So part of the president's job is also to go around and do that chief of state type of stuff. And that's it. Feel free to go rewind, go back and find the stuff. You can get the notes that you missed, listen to my wonderful voice and my great presentation here, and I hope you all have a good day. I hope you all are behaving yourselves, and sit down, do your work, leave the substitute alone, and I will see you tomorrow. Now, there's going to be a handout that the substitute has for you. What I want you to do on that is it gives a bunch of different scenarios of, jobs that the president would do. Okay, you need to look at that. Look at the 7 roles that we just talked about, and just kind of pick out which role of the president fits each one of those scenarios. If, let's say, the president's going to send somebody to war, well, that obviously would be the commander-in-chief. So you just need to go through that handout, figure out which role the president best plays for that scenario, and fill that out. So I think that that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.